CYC is a free channel, presents the Word of God for everyone. Your support will help us to continue the mission. Visit our website, cycnow.com. Even $1 will make a difference.
I think you can imagine the shock and the horror and the pain for a carpenter not to have a left hand. It makes life very difficult. There was a little man from Tennessee, and he came to my bed whilst I was still in hospital recovering from this surgery, and the surgeon, Dr. Buzanglu, the little Jewish surgeon, she told me that she would have to remove the finger, otherwise it would spread into the hand and I would possibly lose the hand, so on and so forth. He said to me, "George, don't worry. Everybody back home is praying for you." At 40 years old, I was satisfied there was no God. And I can't work because my left hand's now gone. And he said, "George, the people want to see you in the church." In this church, there was between 200 and 300 people sitting down that I'd never seen before in my life. When I sat down, the service began. I didn't know what was going to happen. I had no idea what was going to take place. I had never in my life been in an American church. I hadn't been particularly too many times in a church in England, only for maybe a wedding or a funeral. And so this coal miner, tall, 6 foot, good-looking man, not like me, I look like a caveman, I know that. Tall, 6 foot looking man came out and he took a microphone and he began to speak the Bible. What I know now was the Old Testament and the New Testament and the Old Testament and the New Testament. He was just speaking the Bible. And there I was sitting there in the front of the deacons, in the front of the church, in front of maybe 300 people I'd never seen before in my life, including this man who was preaching. And it seemed to me like the whole service was pointing the finger at me. And I started to burn inside. And as the man spoke, who was speaking to the church, I felt every word hit me like a bullet, burning me within. And then he finished. After approximately 15-20 minutes, he finished. And he put this microphone down at the front of the church. And I said, "Oh, it's time to stand." I do not know to this day why I said inside my mind, it's time to stand, because I had no idea of the procedure, what was going to take place, what would happen next, or in the next 5 minutes. I had absolutely no idea. But there was an overwhelming voice inside me to stand, so I stood. And so I was the only guy standing amongst all these people who were from America, and this alien Englishman standing there all by himself, looking pretty stupid. But I was not aware of that, because I felt that the entire church was standing, but I was the only man standing. Then I said to myself, an overwhelming feeling again came, that I had to go forward. So there I was with my one arm strapped up. I walked forward and I knelt down onto a bench that was in front of me. This bench had a kind of a upholstered carpet layer on the bench, and I knelt down on this as if going down to pray. Now, I swear in front of Jesus Christ, I do not know why I was down there about to pray and I saw face to face Jesus Christ. It completely and utterly blew my mind. I was astounded. And the thing that was rushing through my mind was, oh boy, this is not a Mickey Mouse story that I thought for 40 years of my life. This is the Christ. When he looked at me, he didn't look at me like you're looking at me now. I can't see you, but you can see me. When we look at each other, I don't care what country you come from, you look here. And that's where your looking stops. But when Jesus Christ looked at me, he looked inside me. And an overwhelming feeling came inside me that he knew every single part of my life, including all the bad things that I'd done in my life. Now you're looking at a commander in the British Armed Forces who was trained by the Special Air Service. I was not in the Special Air Service. I was trained by them to work alongside them. And I worked undercover against terrorism in many places in the world. And so I did not cry. I did not show any emotion to my soldiers when I was in conflict. It's a sign of weakness. When you're a leader, you have to be emotionless and lead in accordance to your training. Now I started to cry like I was a 2-year-old baby. He's looking inside me, and I was amazed because, as I just said, this is not Mickey Mouse story. This is real. This is the Messiah. He's looking inside me. I know he knows. Don't ask me to explain that, but I know he knows all my life, the entire show. And at the same time, I was so elated with joy. When he looked at me, he looked inside me. And I have never seen in any country, China, Egypt, Africa, England, Germany, I have never seen the love that was in this man's eyes. I have never witnessed it. And this was another factor that caused me to cry. The overwhelming love, I couldn't contain it. And then he spoke to me. And he didn't open his mouth. You'll never see that in any part of the world, I promise you. He didn't open his mouth. But I understood him more clearly than the language that I'm speaking to you. And when he spoke to me, it was like a stone hitting the still water, and the ripples going out and out and out, bigger and bigger. This was his language. This was his message to me. The fire inside my heart was overwhelming. The tears, I was drowning myself in my own tears. I was crying hysterically in front of 300 people. But I'm going to tell you this. If I'm speaking to Egyptians all over the world, you might be happy to know that Jesus Christ does not have blonde hair. You might be happy to know he doesn't have blue eyes as well. And you might be happy to know that his skin is the same color as the majority of you guys. His skin is an olive Mediterranean color. His hair is about the same length as my hair, except his hair is very dark brown, almost black, and it's not tight curly, It's not straight like mine, it's wavy. His eyes, he has extremely large eyelids. His eyes are dark brown, very dark brown, almost black, but brown. His cheekbones was very high, and his face was very thin. His lip line was thin, and his nose was very thin. The eyes, as I told you, I have never witnessed the love that was coming out of these eyes, out of any human's eyes that I've seen in the world. Not male, not female, not child, not adult. I have never seen that immense love. So we've got dark hair, we've got dark brown eyes, slightly wavy, high cheekbones, thin face, a thin mustache, not thick like mine, a thin one. And the beard is not like this mess. His beard is very thin on the sides here. But as it comes to the center of the chin, it thickens. And it's pointed, and it's turned up slightly. That is the face of Jesus Christ. I saw his head with his neck and his shoulder line to here. I will explain why, after 20 years of contemplation, that was so.